We found out recently that Donald Trump, in a secret recording, had admitted that the one person he didn't want to be chosen in 2016 as Hillary's VP would be Bernie Sanders. So he implied that he is scared of Bernie Sanders, at least to some extent. Last night, during his interview with Sean Hannity, he took the offensive against Bernie Sanders, perhaps because that news was out there. I want you, Michael, to take a look at this video and you let me know if you think that this sort of attack against Bernie Sanders is gonna be successful or not. Here's the video.
Bernie Sanders.
Well, I think he's a communist. I mean, look, I think of communism when I think of Bernie. Now, you could say socialist, but didn't he get married in Moscow? And that's wonderful. Moscow's wonderful.
Might have been the honeymoon.
You don't think necessarily, well, whatever, but you don't necessarily think in terms of marriage, Moscow. And it's wonderful. I'm not knocking it, but I think of Bernie sort of as a socialist, but far beyond a socialist.
Elizabeth Warren.
At least he's true to what he believes. That's one thing.
Okay, so let's be clear. He's not knocking it. He thinks it's good. So anyway, this is what he's got against Bernie Sanders. Should he be as scared as he implied he was in that secret recording?
Yeah, I really do. And I think that even his disses are very revealing. I mean, his material on Bloomberg, Mini Mike, that's bringing me back as an audience member who's followed Trump stand up for a while to some of his classic hits. That's really good material. I'm sorry, Elizabeth Warren, he'll eat right up. There's things that maybe we don't talk about in the Democratic primary, but he'll dine on, like her heritage, frankly. And what she's claimed about it, and whether that's fair or unfair, I think that will resonate. I think Trump will have fun with it. It's very revealing that he always does. I've seen other clips where he goes into the crazy Bernie thing and the communism thing, and then he always kind of doubles back with either a reaffirmation that at least you know where you stand with Bernie, or maybe that's even a good idea. The other part that's funny is like, well, I mean, Moscow marriages, I'm burned out on all the Russia stuff, but the jokes about Trump and what kind of Moscow marriages he might be interested in write themselves. And I think that what is interesting, I've heard from, I believe it was Sagar and Jetty on his show, he co-hosts The Hill with Crystal Ball, really good guy. And, on the right, he said that the people around Trump who are more of the sort of like, insurgent right-wing people are scared of Bernie. And the kind of traditional Republicans are chomping at the bit to run against him. Mm-hmm. And he's setting everything else aside. I mean, I think we know who has a better sense of the pulse of the country. I just think on a very specific level, the only people that it's going to be a stumbling block for apparently are people like on MSNBC who are freaked out about this. But I think in the broad general population, particularly amongst younger voters, it's mostly utterly irrelevant, frankly. Then there'll be a handful of people who actually might know about some of these historical moments and say, well, of course Bernie Sanders, good for him for speaking out against the Reagan administration backing death squads that were murdering nuns in Latin America in the 80s. That's good. And then the people who think that, our precious bodily fluids are going to get sold off or whatever, they're already going to vote for Trump anyways. So I don't want to underestimate it. But I really don't. I think people are leaning way into it too much. And I also think the Republicans did us a favor by calling Obama a socialist for 8 years. They have basically made the word mean you're a vaguely decent person.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right. And hopefully we'll be lucky enough to find out what that general election would look like. Michael Brooks, as always, thank you for joining us, everybody. Check out his show.
Thank you, John. Great pleasure. Take care.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.